Dave Scott Hub Media. It's the October show of Purposely Unplugged with Lori. Lori, how was your summer? How are things?
Summer was fabulous. We did a lot of camping. We went out back. It's just really nice to be out in nature. And that was the topic of our last session. So happy to live and breathe what I talk about.
It's kind of funny that both of us ended up, I think, up in Algonquin, and we're both coming back refreshed and charged, isn't it?
Yeah.
That nature component kicked in for us, didn't it?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk to you today, if you don't mind, a little bit about people, folks, young and old, just not doing what they love as far as work or, finding that point in their life where that path they want to follow. And, in your field, do you see that a lot where people come to you and they're maybe frustrated and they don't understand where they're going or where they want to get to? Is that fair? Can I say that?
Absolutely. I think it's something in my whole career, Dave, if I look back at my employment counseling career as well. I mean, do what you love was one of the foundational things we always talked about. So from a career perspective, we talked about values and interests and strengths and abilities, and we would really try to ground someone in those to build a career around that. But then now my job, Dave, is more around social, in your families, in your relationships, in your connections with other people. Are you doing what you love and are you where you want to be? So do what you love has been a theme all the way through my career.
Is now when you have a client and I think I can call them clients and they come to you, is that one of the places you start with a session, like with anyone? Do you sort of figure out what they're looking for or where they want to go?
We can. Every situation's so different. It's hard to make a general statement. But let's assume it's an adult who's just overwhelmed with coping and life and what's going on. Often I will start with, but what was one of your earliest, happiest memories? What did you do as a kid that just brought you joy? In one of my models, I call that calm place. And so that's always where I start. And then often that just sparks something for someone to go back to what they forgot. Often, Dave, people tell us you can't do that. You can't be an artist. You can't be a musician. You can't be a dancer. You can't do that. You don't want to go to college or university for that. You're never going to find a job. We hear people in our lives say those things, and sometimes we follow out of obligation and because we love the people in our lives. But often I see people who are far away from the original path of where they thought they wanted to be.
It's funny because I just clicked in. I had written a piece recently, and I don't know if it's out next month or the month after, but it was that line in your life that can be so devastating when a parent says, not necessarily a parent, a colleague or somebody says, well, what are you going to do with your life? And it shouldn't be that way. The question should be, how do you want to be the best you can be?
Mm-hmm.
So we've taken that over the years and implemented it so harshly about what are you going to do with your life that it becomes almost you almost feel guilty. You want to live up to an expectation that you shouldn't have to. You should probably just look at focusing on being the best you socially or with your work related life. Is that a stigma? Like, do you see that?
Oh, absolutely. And it plays out in everyone's life a different way. And so, absolutely, society assumes that we're giving titles to our jobs. Oh, I am a plumber versus I am something else. So, we still do that in society. It's kind of a misjustice. It'd be nice if we say to each other, what do you like to do? What brings you joy? How do you spend your time? And the thing is, too, Dave, our careers are changing. So young people are struggling because it's harder for them to find what they want to do. Jobs are changing. Careers are changing. That's just something we've always known in that world. But I think we see it in relationships, too. I mean, we assume that if you're in a relationship as a young person, that everything's okay and it's going to be fine. And that's the way it is. And sometimes it's not. So in my therapy role, I just like slowing down and just going back to, but what do you want? What do you need? Who are you? What brings you joy?
Is that a basis too? I mean, you really got to know yourself before you can understand where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
in any decision. And even if this isn't a new hobby, like this could be anything. This doesn't have to be those big decisions in our lives, like work or a relationship. This could be something as, what am I going to do? Is it pottery or guitar? We really have to just sit in the moment and really reflect on what brings us joy. Where is it? How can we cultivate that? How can we turn that into an interest? And I think this comes from meaning making, Dave, which is how people just understand and make sense of their life, the relationships and the events around them, and social connection too. This is just feeling connected to a group, feeling connected to other people, but also feeling connected to yourself and who you are.
When you know yourself, when you get to that point in your life where you're comfortable in your own skin, I found it amazing that you can let so much other stuff go,
Mm.
right? And I think a lot of folks nowadays, part of figuring out what they want to do or what they love is being that person, being the best person you can be and letting that other stuff just fall away because then you're free to make decisions. Does that fit in with your philosophy?
It does. And you know what? That could probably be a whole nother topic that we talk about because, and sometimes it takes people a lifetime. I mean, before we came on screen, that's what you and I said, Dave. It's taken both of us a lifetime to get to this spot in our careers where it just feels so easy and
That's
joyful.
where you're supposed to be, right? At this
Hmm.
point in your career.
But if you
Tell
had
the
asked me 25 years ago, would I be here? I wouldn't have had an inkling that this is where I was going to be. My career developed on its own. My life shifted on its own. And it is a pleasure to be where I am. And I cut you off. So go ahead, Dave.
no, no, that's great. No, and I was going to say, knowing you as long as I've known you,
Mm.
but as someone on the outside looking in, you could see that 25 years ago where you were headed because you're a caring person. You
Mm.
can see that you always want to help people. So maybe it wasn't visually clear to you at the time, but to other people around you, surely it was because you were always helping. And I
Mm.
think that's part of it. Sometimes it's hard to recognize our own journey, right? We're so
Mhm.
enthralled in what we're in. Tell the folks what it is you exactly do, because I kind of skipped that at the beginning. We should always remind them what it
Mhm.
is you're up to.
I have the pleasure of being an independent therapist. I run an independent practice. Even better than that, I'm out in nature, Dave. I have a 5-acre spot that's available to me where I work outside as much as possible. So I am feeling the season change because last night when I walked out of my tiny little cabin, it was pitch black and I did not have my flashlight. So there's a funny story. So absolutely, I work outside as much as possible. I work with adults, kids, couples. It really depends. But as an independent therapist, I'm well trained to look at lots of different life situations. But my real focus is trauma. My heart is in trauma and working with people who have carried things or worked through things and dealt with things for a very long time. And so I have specific trauma training that I can assist and help people move through those things they've been carrying.
She's good, folks. So make sure you give her a shout and check her out. Lori will help you out. I got to let you go because I got work to do today. But thanks
Mhm.
for your time. And I look forward to catching up with you again next month. Okay, Lori?
Absolutely. Have a great day.